What's going on, everybody? It's Mountain Stacker here. It's been a little while, but here I am. Today is December 13th, and I thought I'd bring to you, it's close enough to the end of the year, my year-end gold stack. And so I did this last year, I believe. It looked somewhat similar, probably maybe with a few substitutions and additions, but it was fun to do last year, and I thought, hey, let's look it all over before I stow it away back in my safety deposit box where it's safe and sound, hopefully. So here it is. So it has grown, not substantially, but you know where the gold prices are. It's scary buying gold and stacking it and keep going higher and higher and higher. And so sometimes my purchases might get a little smaller, and sometimes, they're a little bit bigger, from like over here, but it all equals out. I pay attention a lot to the markets, and holy cow, silver got down to like 66 ounces for 1 ounce of gold. I think I saw it at one point, maybe 67, somewhere in that range, which is obscenely low gold to silver ratio since I started stacking, really. So it's exciting to see that type of thing. But this video is not about silver, it's about gold. And so basically it's saying that maybe it is a good time to buy a little bit of gold. It's scary to do that when gold is over $4,300 and change, but it was scary when gold was 2,100, and I'm sure it was scary when gold was 800. So the important thing is you're not buying gold to watch it skyrocket in price. That has been happening, but gold is not there to create wealth, right? It is recently, it feels that way, but gold is there to preserve wealth, and it's to store wealth, and it is wealth. And so sort of like real estate and any other kind of hard asset that may have a use or have a desire and have a very long track record, that's what we're looking at here. So you can see what I have accumulated is not just pure physical stacking. There's definitely a numismatic vibe to all of this. There's collectability in a lot of these coins. That this is what I would consider a collection. This isn't something I'd consider like a roll of buffaloes or something, obviously. So this is a hand curated gold collection, if I may. So I thought I'd show it off at the end of 2025. I don't think I'm going to be making any gold purchases between now and the end of the year. I have many things to buy for other people this time of year, so I thought, hey, this is a good chance to take it out and put it back away, but get it all on video in one place. So as of the end of 2025, this is kind of what I'm looking at, and I can go over some of them, but some of the most recent things I've bought are like little things, just definitely collectible things. I mean, this is 25 cents. This is cool. It's old California gold. And there's these are like the Civil War token of California gold, right? They catalog them with these BG numbers, and there's just so many of them. This one's cool. I've had this one for a little bit actually, but this one's octagonal, so pretty neat. Neat. And here's a fairly new purchase. It's a dos pesos. So you're going to see I've throughout here, I've got a few other these older Mexican peso collection. I like this old Mexican gold. I think it's got some cool history to it. And these things people stack these raw, and you can get them pretty cheap. You probably buy them under melt in today's dollars. But this is a nice one. So it's a little small for me to stack, but gold is gold, right? Here's a reverse proof gold buffalo. One of the prettier coins I own, I have to say, and this is proof 70, reverse proof 70 grade, and that's if I'm buying something to be a collector and it's modern, I mean, that's the goal, right? You want to have as nice of an example as you possibly can. That's sort of like the goal. It's, yeah, you can melt it and gold is gold, but if you can have some type of rarity with it, I think these are just, I mean, you can all admit this is a beautiful buffalo nickel design, and so very thankful that the mint decided to make it a bullion coin. This is my son's birthday. So that's the value over and above bullion to me for this guy. You know, here's a numismatic treasure that's probably going a little too close to melt these days. But the way I look at it is there was only so many of these things made, and there's a history to them, and they're, you know, St. Gaudens double eagle, you know, and supposedly the most beautiful coin ever created. And they stopped making them, and every single time that gold shoots up and some of the lower grade ones get traded in for dollars, they get sent to the refinery and melted, and they just become more and more rare. Same thing with these. These are going probably for melt or below right now. That's insane to me, because it's got so much history. It's beautiful. Okay, now we're talking history, right? You've seen this? Look at that. No details, no cleaning grade, straight graded XF45 from 1792. Love it. I love it. I mean, that's awesome. This is neat, and it's neat. These things all have memories. It's not just stacking gold coins. You know, I can remember buying this. I remember haggling. For this at the fun show back in 24, and I went to the fun show looking for this specific coin. It was funny. I walked the whole floor, and you know how if any of you guys have been to the fun show, you know how big of a show that is. You know how many of these I saw? One. January 2024, and went back there after walking the whole floor, haggled and bought it, and that was a big purchase. I remember making that, and now I'm just sitting on profit if I sold that, but it's not why I'm buying these. These never get sold. That's a gorgeous coin though. How about this big fat nugget? It's good to have an example of what it looks like right when it comes out of the ground, when it comes from Nevada. You can even see both sides. You can see this is a nice thick case, so it allows you to see all the angles, which is pretty neat. And it's identified. You find these things in the raw. I won this obviously in a vault box. I'm pretty happy with that. And you can see these $5 aren't cheap. This one has a CAC sticker. Of course, if you get a CAC sticker, great, but adds value, I guess. I don't know if that'll always be the case or if that's just a fad, but boy, you get a CAC sticker and it goes up in value. Yeah, pretty coin. You know, these Indians that were made after the Liberty Heads, probably my favorite coin, and these things are not cheap. These $5 Indian head, Bellarmine Pratt designed them, incused, so the image is pushed in rather than raised. So it's a little bit different than what you're usually seeing on coins. But these things over 62, MS62, and you start getting 64, holy cow, they go up in cost. Woo! Here's a nice one I purchased this year. My lovely wife is a Mayflower descendant, and so that was my excuse to her why I bought it, but I just really wanted to buy gold. Yep. I remember I paid $1,000 on the mark for this year. So I could melt that for more than I paid for it. But that's, again, not the plan. Here's another one of those Mexican pesos. This is a 20 peso. You don't see these too often. Again, people stack these raw. There's a nice graded example for my typeset of pesos that I'm slowly starting to make. Again, another beautiful coin. St. Gaudens eagle. And an old holder. Again, I don't buy the holder. This is just a gorgeous coin. Sometimes only the nicer coins were getting graded back when they were making these holders, and they were a little bit harsher on the grading. So you just have the allure behind some of these older holders is that you have a little bit better coins sometimes, more than just the grade. That's gorgeous, huh? Pretty. Just a neat piece of history. These things were being used. Little eagle from 1894. It'd probably melt right now. I mean, that's probably what I would get for this. Just still $2,100 or so, whatever. Can't complain. $10, 10D. Yeah, here's a little Denver mint. I think that's pretty cool. This one's got a lot of luster for being a 63. I always like this one, just the look of it. Looked nice. Really shines. Not in like a cleaned way, but like in a, it's got a good strike. I don't know. You got one from a famous collection, D.L. Hansen. Somebody trying to put together the best set on earth or whatever, and every time they replace it, they sell off part of their collection in a neat capsule that has their name on it, so you knew the pedigree, I guess, is what they would call that. But I think you just know it's a nice coin. So here's a nice MS65 CAC sticker, gem, $2.50 Liberty head. So nice coin. 250-year anniversary is going to be next year, and they're remaking these again. I think it's going to be a little bit different because this one, for instance, says 2016 because it was a 100-year anniversary of the Mercury dime. So they're making a gold Mercury dime again, but I think they're going to put 2026 on it as a date, which will be a little confusing if you ask me. But it's a beautiful coin. It's definitely a pretty design. So when they made this into a gold coin, it was a have to have. Just an example. I don't know if I'm going to get the new one. Not of that example, at least. I've had this one for a little bit. Two-headed. That's what I always like about that. Yeah. Love it. It's a Lewis and Clark and an old holder. And these ones, I don't know, sister coins, brother coins. The Louisiana Purchase. Got one with Thomas Jefferson on it. And you got one with McKinley on it for only $1. But other than that, they're pretty similar. Yeah, pretty nice. And then, here's a big daddy. 50 pesos. It's a 63, and pretty neat. Came in 1929. I mean, a lot going on then, right? It's a nice example, though. And again, paid a little bit of a premium at the time. Not as much as you'd think. And then now it's well blown past that. This is the most expensive coin I think I have, just because the gold weight is heavy. So you got to have one of these. So whether you have a raw one or not, those are great to have. And then speaking of raw, got some of these. Here's a South African 2 Rand. It's actually the same amount as a sovereign. It's proof. I picked that up in a 1978 proof 2 Rand. It looks like a Kruger Rand, but it's the same amount of gold weight as a Great British sovereign. See, 0.23. These are just raw, nothing fancy. You know, to tell you the truth, if I had a nice graded example, I'd probably trade or sell these for that. Here's a Swiss 20 franc from, where's that from? 1943, I think. Oh, blurry. And again, another 20 franc, but one from France. Same weight, 1875. That one's, I like this one a little bit more. See, it's like that angel. It's pretty. And then here you go. Obviously, here's a 5 peso. So if I found a nice graded 5 peso, I would probably sell, trade this one for raw gold weight. And so, just for my type collection. So as you can see, it's been a good year. Gold's been good to me. Y'all have been good to me. So keep watching these videos. I really do enjoy making these things, probably more than y'all like watching them. So it's more for me than for you, but I really do enjoy hearing from you guys, the feedback, and the obviously follow me. I'll keep making videos. Tell me what you want to see. These are going to go back in my safety deposit box, but wanted to share them with you. I hope you all have a happy new year and a new 2026. And I hope you buy and accumulate lots of gold and silver and keep the hobby going. Keep finding interesting treasures and keep sharing them. And I will talk to you all soon. Mountain Stacker out.